Hello, Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. Coming back off a really good win against Georgia. Got a lot to talk about. We've 4 weeks in a row we've had a blasting of the defense. I believe. I think it started out that we were blasting them again, but we regrouped. We did what we were supposed to do at halftime. We're going to get into all of that. I want to talk about. I'm going to throw this out there, and then we can kind of dissect that. First half, you see what took place. It's really a battle, in my opinion, back and forth, guys making plays. Did you guys feel like that we had made any changes? Now, I'm talking about the first half. Do you guys feel like we had made any changes leading up to the Georgia game as it relates to the defensive side of the ball? So let's go ahead and talk about that. And this time, Maurice, I'm going to start with you.
Well, first of all, I didn't get the memo for White Shirt Day. So,
dude,
it's all right.
Sent that text.
I stand out. I get it. I'm used to it. The only thing I noticed as far as the first half went, defensive line, and Jimmy, you had mentioned this a couple of weeks back, there were finally some stunts that they were doing. Unfortunately, I don't think we had the team speed or the speed up front to do that. And what you had said previously about having somebody like Tim Williams, we just don't have that speed to get around. Now, they were getting some movement and some push, but they didn't have the speed to get to the quarterback in time. And there was still some pressure. But that was the main thing that I saw more stunning from the defensive line. I think it gave Georgia some heartache.
Yeah. So on the defensive side, I'm glad you pointed that out because that's one thing that I've noticed as well too. And at this point, I think that adjustment needs to be like they made that second half is just, let's just get helmet to helmet, see who can win a battle up front, and really not get too fancy with some of the things we're trying to do. And so I was happy to see that on that side of the ball for sure.
So y'all ready to hear my perspective?
Please, I've been waiting since Saturday.
Man, I'm going to be honest. I thought we played with a little bit more attitude. However, I do believe that Georgia came out with a good plan. I mean, if you really paid attention, we got some guys, it seemed like to me, working hard up front. We're batting balls down.
Right.
We're pushing some guys back. I told Jimmy, you heard DJ Dale's name a couple times.
Finally.
You heard Barrymore. You see that he's actually. So I think we came out with a good plan. I think we came out with a little bit different attitude. I just believe that Georgia also came out with a good plan. Man, they were hitting the running back and they were throwing to the tight ends and they were doing a lot of stuff quick. 3-step drop.
Well,
get rid of
he
it.
wanted to get. That was their game plan.
Get him comfortable.
Get the ball out of his hand.
Get it out of his hand.
But I don't know how much. We always talk about the attitude, but we were actually behind. We had some blown coverages, and early on, that Zeus he hit it right up the gut for that touchdown, almost untouched. So. Yeah, there was a little bit more tenacity, I guess you could say, but there was still something missing as far as schemes go that we obviously made some adjustments to in the second half. So
yeah, so I'll tell you this, or I want to say this.
Say it.
I think I will.
Cool.
How do you feel about it, Jimmy?
I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. So yeah, I think we played better on defense, but also let's not forget the fact that, Georgia missed on some plays too that kind of helped us out. A couple of drop passes. Their quarterback, maybe the moment was too big for him. He missed some throws. I think maybe it was in the second half when he went over the top and their receiver was behind our guys. I don't think that was a scheme necessarily, but there were some plays there that Georgia didn't make that certainly helped us out on that side of the ball. Made our stats and numbers look a little bit different.
Well, the problem I had in the first half, and my neighbors had because I was screaming, is down there when Bennett overthrew him twice when they finally scored on fourth down, I believe it was. We let the tight end go right by us. And it's like, he's only got about 5 more steps into the end zone. You don't have the outside. Somebody's got to, you can't let him go. And we let him go. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
That is.
Or were you thinking?
Yeah. So
I agree. I mean, I'm not saying we played perfectly or played, I saw a different attitude. I saw us really being excited. And I mean the four guys up front.
Yeah.
I saw us showing some emotion, having some intensity. I haven't really seen that a lot lately in the previous games. I just didn't see a lot of passion, but I saw that. Now, yes, we still made some mistakes. Yes, we are still very bad tackling.
Yes.
Very bad. I want to talk about that for a second. I'm going to, again, give a shout out to my colleague, Keith Jones. We were just talking a little bit about why we're so bad tackling. And I believe, and I'm going to give you my opinion about a couple of things, and I want to hear from you. It's twofold. One, the concussion protocols that have really taken over football. I'm talking about in the NFL and in college. The concussion protocols and the way they want you to tackle, which is really not how we were taught to tackle, which is put your face mask in his chest plate and,
That's why I got a
So the way they want you to tackle now,
yeah,
and then combined with, combined with no spring,
right,
to be able to work on that.
But you've mentioned that. How many shows have we done now?
But I start thinking about that, and listen, it's not just Alabama.
Sure.
Have y'all watched college football? There's a lot of people not tackling. You're arm grabbing, and guess what? You go try to grab Najee Harris, or go try to grab the kid Knight from, I think it's Zeke Knight for Georgia, the running back.
No, Zeke, whatever. I just call him Zeke.
They're running back who's strong and shifty. You're not going to grab them by the arms and tackle them a lot of times.
Agreed. However, we're in our 4th week of the season. We go through practice, so that gives us, 7 weeks of practice. So we should be doing this in practice during individual drills. And yeah, Joey Galloway and pretty boy Jesse Palmer, I'm sorry, The Bachelor. What a great show. They talk about not having spring practice and the tackling is impacted. Maybe. But I think it comes down to fundamentals. Yes, true. If you want to get hold of Najee Harris, that's a business decision. Good luck with it. But as far as how we approach it, it's still, this rule's been in effect about 10 years now. So there needs to be shoulder with some arms coming through and wrapping up and then waiting for some teammates to show up. Now, we did that a few times, but we didn't do it consistently.
Enough. Not doing it enough.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so you're right. Fundamentals can solve a lot of our problems for sure. But also, I mean, based on what you're saying, is it something we should expect then from here on out? Just a lot of missed tackles overall? I mean, if we can't tackle like we used to and like you said, protocol is what it is.
Yeah, you're making him mad.
Jimmy, I'm going to be honest. I think you're going to see a lot more missed tackles because you guys keep saying fundamentals. What are fundamentals now? Because it's not what we were taught. So what are the fundamentals?
Well,
I mean, listen, when I was coaching 6 years ago at the high school level, tackling drills changed completely.
Okay. Can I bring up one thing?
Sure.
So NFL basically has very similar rules, not as, I won't say strict, but not as, they're just a little different as far as the helmet to helmet. But when players get there to the ball carrier, they're generally, the ball carrier is not going to get loose until somebody else, they got a hold of you. They do a great job in the NFL. That's one of the things that, especially at DBs, that's going to keep you on a roster is being able to tackle an open field. They do it, and I know that these are college kids, but still, it's just not, you can't keep going by because when we face a Clemson or an Ohio State, that's going to be a different monster than what we're seeing in the SEC.
It is just my opinion, and we're going to go to a break in just a second. We can come back and talk about this. We can circle the wagon.
All right.
It is my opinion that too many guys are worried about targeting, that puts them out for a half, potentially the next game. Look at Battle.
Right.
So, look, how many times have you seen that the defensive guy comes to make a play and he's being aggressive, and the ball carrier, the receiver, the running back, the quarterback is falling or slips or stumbles, and now that helmet level has changed. I mean, it's in their minds.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with us trying to tackle Matt Corral or Stetson Bennett when we've got pressure on him, and they escape.
Yeah, so I agree there. When you're talking about a defensive guy, defensive end, outside linebacker that's 250 pounds that's trying to get a quarterback, we ought to be able to put our hands on him and tackle him. I'm more referencing the plays that are in the middle of the field or on the edges where, we have an opportunity to hit somebody, but there's too much pressure to do it correctly and not get in trouble or not get kicked out of a game. And these guys are just now trying to arm tackle.
Hey,
so
I'm sorry.
No.
We did win the game, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I was just wondering if we were going to talk some positives for the
We
show was
are.
over with. Okay. I was just
We're going to
curious.
come back.
You don't get better by talking about how great you are.
I understand.
Is that a Nick Saban quote?
It's a Mo Booth quote. Thank you.
understand.
So let's take a short break on behalf of Bob English and State Farm. Hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Hey, Bob.
Hey,
Can
Bob.
I get a white shirt?
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. As your State Farm agent, I am here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. With over 60 years combined State Farm experience, call me or any of my team to find out which options are best for you. Another way we're here to help life go right.
No,
All right, welcome back,
no, I
Tide
didn't say
fans.
that.
This is Tide.
I didn't say that.
Hey, Maurice.
I didn't say Kirby was a son. I said they're not actually related. Well, that's your fault that you hired him. Well, sorry, you get what you pay for. Bye.
Yeah, are you ready? We're live now.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
That's my.
So, as we were saying before the break, again, we won't beat a dead horse. I just think that it's difficult for these guys. I think it's different. I think, you've got some guys that have that, I want to knock your head off mentality, Reuben Foster, those types of players, and that's kind of but they can't do that. So I think they're trying to do some things that they're just not used to. And then on top of, we didn't get spring practice. So that makes it more difficult. We're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
I hope that changes. I hope that we're repping tackling drills more and more and more so that we can get better at that, because I do believe that it does impact and has impacted this year our getting off the field on third downs.
He don't want to address it. We all said it the other night, even your brother. So if he says it,
My brother, who is that?
the sheriff.
Sheriff Taylor?
The sheriff.
So you know what it is.
Okay.
I know. He might get better. I'm not going to say it.
He might.
He might.
Are you okay? Anyway, so better job second half. We go in and make changes. I think you and I talked, Jimmy. We were watching the game together. I think you and I said it's going to be, who's going to make the adjustments at the at half, and we did. I think we came out and we shut them out in the second half. Did a better job. I think they missed on some things, but that's part of the game. Mm-hmm. I think we missed a couple of things too.
Oh yeah.
So Mac Jones got hit a couple times, and that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I mean, he got hit a couple times, and we all said in text, he's throwing off his back leg. He was a little gun shy. Rightfully so. You got 250, 300-pound guys coming at you and hitting you.
Did you say rightfully or riflely?
But I mean,
there you go.
Rightfully so. I mean, Jimmy, you made the point. He hadn't been hit all year. So you're right. He finally got hit some, and he was like, nah. Although he said he liked that. It's a little different.
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, that's right.
So real quick, yes, Tide fans, these are my red Bama
Ooh,
socks.
Look at there.
Yeah, I had a pair like that when I was
screens are
seven.
not deceiving you. And I know we're only supposed to celebrate 24 hours, but these are my celebratory Bama socks. But also getting ready for what we got coming up this week. the old,
Hate Week.
The Hate Week in Tennessee. So anyway, yes,
Get
these
your
are my
cigars.
Bama socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mac Jones got hit a couple of times. You know, I think early on after he got hit, he did look a little, not want to say skittish, but just uncomfortable. However, if we're going to jump to some stats like we do in the second segment, I was asked to bring these out
Glasses
every
off?
week. Glasses on, glasses off.
Well, we got to have a balanced show.
Yeah.
So he might have been uncomfortable to a degree. However,
Wasn't sacked the other night, was he? I know he was rushed.
No, I honestly think he got rid of the ball.
I don't think they've washed his uniform all season.
Yeah, which is what we all kind of said. The offensive line's done a really good job. And let's talk about that really quickly while he's trying to find stats. With the defensive front of Georgia, which was supposed to be,
right, that's what I was going to tell you. You were talking about the defensive line taking pride. The fourth quarter, especially the 6 minutes and 4 seconds.
Oh yeah,
drive. Did you see how the offensive line was reacting?
Fired.
Yes. Yes.
Beating on their,
And I'll say that's the best offensive line in the country. I don't know. Between them and Notre Dame, that's
right.
That's the best offensive line.
I will say this first about Mac. He's added to his. I think we talked about this. He added to his 85-yard plus touchdown passes plays on Saturday. Again, just piling on that record. Third straight game for over 400 yards passing, which again, what did we say last week? Nobody had done it. Nobody had done it twice. Obviously, nobody's done it 3 times either. So shout out to Mac for that. But on a team standpoint, so scoring offense this week, 48.5 points a game. Of course, we dropped from first to second nationally, but still first in the SEC. Rushing offense, 168 per game, 39th and 4th. We actually dropped from where we were the previous week. Passing offense, 393 per game, second in the country, first in the league. So, overall, I'll say overall offense, I'll say this real quick. Total offense, 561 a game, 5th in the country, 2nd in the league. So, he may have been uncomfortable for a little while, but at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie as far as what we did on offense.
I really think these, and not to get ahead of ourselves, but this offense, as a former offense coordinator, offenses, once they get into a rhythm, they start gelling. This offense is gelling.
Yeah.
They took on a little adversity from, at the time, the best defense in the country statistically. But we showed, based on our offensive line and our weapons, and the offensive line doesn't get enough credit. I mean, all the weapons, they get all the PR and so forth. But that offensive line has done a phenomenal job, in my opinion.
Well, listen, if you noticed on the night of the game, I think Najee Harris, he was going by, congratulating the entire offensive line.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're right. Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Mac Jones, they get the praise. They get the hype.
Right.
But it's because the meatheads up front.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And you're right, Maurice. I saw us take over the game, like what Saban always says. When you're trying to put the game away, you got to be able to run the football. And
so let me throw this out there too, fellas. Alabama football is the first SEC team in over 20 years to have a 400-yard passer. 2
in one game.
In one game.
But the first one to have
all of this in one game.
Okay.
A 400-yard passer.
Right.
2 150-yard receivers and a 150-yard
rusher.
First time in over 20 years.
Yes.
So back to what you're saying about the offensive line. It starts there. Giving Mac time, which most of the time he has it. Giving those holes to Najee. Granted, he gets a lot of yards after contact. But man, I'm telling you, that offense is elite. I don't care what anybody says.
I was thinking they highlighted it. Gary Daniels. I don't. Everybody's always on Gary Danielson. I don't care. I think he does an okay job. He did a spotlight on the offensive line, passing off blocks the other night, and coming back to somebody else coming through late on a late blitz or a stunt. The only thing I could think of, I wish our DB coach would work with the offensive line coach as far as passing off your coverage, and then
Right. Yeah.
So I thought the offense. I mean, it's nice to watch because if you don't have a good offensive line, it is a headache all night long.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
That was beautiful.
We've seen it. We all agree you can't do those things that you just mentioned: passer, receiving yards, rushing yards, unless you can do it up front. We all agree with that. I'll tell you this: even when Mac Jones isn't on point, and he is a lot, but nobody's perfect.
Right.
I can tell you a couple of catches that were just phenomenal jobs by the receivers. One specifically was Forrestal, the tight end.
Yeah.
It was a bad throw. It was a third down. We needed to convert. It was a 3rd and 4 or 5, I believe, a little out route. And he ran him across. It was a drag, and he kind of threw it behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a 6'6", 250-pound guy out in space making a really good play with his hands.
On a bad ankle.
Yeah, and, Devontae Smith, Smitty, we talked about the play where the cornerback for them kind of button hooked and came back around and went to make the play on the ball. But Smitty was just strong enough to catch it with his hands and then bring it to him. The DB was there and got his hands on the ball, but Smitty was just strong enough.
We talked about those 50-50 balls. That seems like Smitty wins them every time.
Kirby Smart talked about it. Talked about, Smitty and Waddle were making a lot of plays on the 50-50 balls. And, but you have to have that. You have to have the receiver bailing out the quarterback sometimes. You have to have the quarterback throwing dimes to the receivers. The very first touchdown was a dime.
Right.
I mean, Mechie was covered. I mean, the guy was on him. It was just a perfectly thrown ball. Anywhere else, it's an incompletion that guy knocks it away. Mechie makes a great play. So, again, I agree, Maurice, the offense is gelling. They're clicking. I think the momentum was felt. The momentum was seized by the line when it was the last possession and we had to run out the clock. We start pounding the football.
Haven't done that since LSU.
We were talking about it. Have not been able to do that in so long.
Well, hey, what else did we talk about that we haven't seen in forever? Going into half, Georgia just scored. Georgia's getting the ball back. There's 23 seconds on the clock.
Just a good point. We talked about bringing this up.
And we get in field goal range, and with 23 seconds left, and of course, kick the 52-yarder by our All-American kicker,
I agree.
Sheriff. All-American Sheriff.
I agree.
So,
Maurice, when's the last time you've seen us with 23 seconds to go on our territory try to get in position?
Closest would have been AJ at LSU. That was 2011.
I mean,
long time ago.
We in the past few years have been satisfied handing it off, running the clock out, just holding on to the ball. If we break one, that's great, but we're not doing anything spectacular. And we went down the field. And listen, they talked about it. The commentators talked about it. The momentum swing with that field goal was Kirby Smart talked about it.
Did you see the excitement on the players and the sideline when they did that happen?
Exactly. And the way that they ran to the locker room, it was first of all, I'm not going to say that the referees, these referees, they miss a spring practice too, because they should know the rules that with 3 seconds left, direct snap, spike, you got 1 second.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And that was a rule that was just put in.
Exactly. So I don't understand.
Should be fresh on their minds. Yeah.
I don't even understand what the
controversy was.
Yeah,
there shouldn't have been.
And so I have a problem with that. But it's almost like it was a double win. We got the second back, and we made the field goal from 52.
So I read today that's the first 50-plus yard field goal we've made in like 6 years.
Yeah. So that's going to be a great stopping point. We're going to go into the next segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the kicking game. And I want to mention some other aspects of the kicking game. But hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call me, Bob English, or any of my experienced hometown team and find out how you could start saving today. It's just another way.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. we just want to briefly just discuss a few points that I thought about. I've always defended our special teams and kickoffs because I've told people before, everybody's like, why don't y'all just kick it out of the end zone? And why don't, and I believe prior to Saturday night that we have done such a good job on special teams covering kickoffs that we generally keep people behind the 20-yard line. We do a good job getting downfield, and we do a good job tackling on kickoffs. Didn't work so well this past week.
One time I think I saw us go down and make a decent hit and stop them like around the 20 or so.
But good things can happen.
So I think there's a philosophy behind it because I also know, and I've seen Reichard and I don't remember the other kicker's name. Reichard's just the one that
Reichard's not kicking off this.
He did a couple times.
I want to say it's the India walk-on or
he did a couple times. Reichard kicked a couple times Saturday night.
Don't make fun of walk.
But my point is, I know they can kick it in the end zone. I've seen them do it. But I don't believe I believe we kick the ball intentionally.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, chance for a fumble, for us to recover, and we keep them inside. But Saturday night
also sets a tone.
Yeah, Saturday night they did a good job. They were in field position, pretty much all night, which just goes back to our defense did a pretty good job. Our defense, we kicked off to them the entire second half, because we were scoring. And our defense did a pretty good job. Considering their field position, considering where they were starting, we did a pretty good job. So I wish we could do a better job on the punting aspect of it. I wish we could flip the field a little bit better. But again, that just goes back to, where would you have your focus? I've always told my brother, Sheriff Taylor, by the way, hey Sheriff, I've always told him, I'd rather not have a fantastic kicker and win national championships, have that stellar defense and offense, than I would have a great kicker and not win national championships.
If your kicking involves a tee, you're in good shape.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll put up with a 39-yard average.
Well, hey, maybe it's time for us to go find one of those rugby-style kickers because those guys seem to just boom it and it gets that 38-yard roll after it hits because the guy can't go there and catch it.
They're playing with a kickball. So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So it is hate week. It is that time for Tennessee. Tennessee's coming off a very bad loss to Kentucky. Which I don't think it'll make a huge difference, but I think it will make a little difference because they'll be playing a little angry. They have nothing to lose against Alabama. Jeremy Pruitt's done a really good job over at Tennessee.
Of course, nobody ever does.
We were talking about this yesterday, I believe, Jimmy coming home. We get everyone's A game. Ole Miss gets beat, only scores 21 points this past weekend.
Well, they used them all up the week before.
What, Arkansas?
Yeah, Arkansas.
Yeah, but Arkansas
I think Arkansas is a good football team.
They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they're a good football team. I think the coach has done a really good job. But again, we get everyone's best every week.
The best should.
Nick Saban's made a statement. He goes, playing in the SEC, you can't take any Saturdays off. You have to prepare and you have to be ready because anything can happen. And some of these teams are seeing that. So it is time to play Tennessee. Always a great rivalry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, again, Tennessee coming off a hard-fought game against Georgia. Alabama's going.
Then they got the break speed off of them by Kentucky.
Yeah, so that trap game could have been that Kentucky game for them. Now,
could have been.
Were they looking for?
Were they looking? Were they looking to Alabama like it seems like we always say that because a team can look terrible one week and then show up and play us really tough. So, I think some of that is probably true.
I originally, believe it or not, at the beginning of the season, I'm not kidding, I had this game circled.
Jimmy did too.
I thought that this was dangerous.
Both of you said the same thing, I believe. You both said coming after Georgia, a high intensity, high emotion game.
Tennessee playing good at the end of last season and then carried it into this season. They, at the time, had the longest SEC winning streak, second longest in the country. And then Georgia ends up beating them. And then they turn around and lay an egg against Kentucky. It's still within them to put something together. but I don't think they have the talent yet. They have an incredible class coming in 2021 right now if all that stays, constant. But I just, their offense has got some issues right now. Defense, they're okay. But Jeremy Pruitt, you're going to have a decent defense. But offensively, they're not good.
Man, if we don't have that first half letdown, whether it's from, again, just how it always seems like you have that big win, the next time you're kind of sloppy, you're not just all there.
Right.
I mean, if we don't have that letdown in the first half, which I honestly don't think we will, we're just too talented, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Man, it shouldn't be close, honestly.
But doesn't it give you guys an appreciation for what Nick Saban does every single week, every single year?
Then he beat the crap out of COVID. How about that?
That's right.
You know some of this? I don't think you do, COVID.
But I mean, it does. I mean,
I'll see you Donald Trump COVID and match it with the
You
Nick
have
Saban
to
COVID.
stop and think about that. Even if you're not an Alabama fan, there's got to be an appreciation for what that program, and I'm going to refer to Nick Saban because he's the leader of that program, what he does week in and week out every year. I mean, we're 93 consecutive wins over an unranked opponent. He's 21-0 against former assistants. And you rarely see us get caught in that trap game. It's just not, and that is a testament to him preparing the guys mentally so you can't have a letdown. And to what you were saying, yeah, we may struggle a little bit offensively or miss some things defensively, but for the most part, we take care of business.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's difficult for 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids.
I wouldn't call, you can say as far as letdowns, you can say, well, we've lost, games during the season. Last year's I attribute to organization, and we've talking about beating a dead horse, covered that against LSU and Auburn. And the other night, I think we were all starting to kind of feel that again when we had to call timeout at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yep. Agreed.
Infuriating. I don't know what
Agreed.
was said or what was changed, but the communication improved at that point, communication on the field. So, yeah, I don't see us having a letdown this weekend. And, yeah, to your point, I'm trying to think of a time where we really did have where you're just going, y'all just aren't playing flat.
The last time I remember, just off the cuff without putting a lot of thought into it, is when Lane Kiffin was at Tennessee and we had to block 2 field goals to win the game.
Yeah, they weren't a good team that year.
They were not a very good football team. Yeah. We were ranked 1 or 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And we figured out a way. And so, again, I mean, it's difficult. Look, I could give you numerous examples. Look at Ole Miss just this past weekend. Coming off a great showing against the number 2 team in the country at Alabama, they put up 48 points and looked like world beaters. Yeah. And we're all saying that's the best offense we're going to see all year. And they turn around and score 21 against Arkansas. I'm not taking anything away from Arkansas, but they're not Alabama. No. Arkansas's not Alabama.
No.
And so it happens. Tennessee, LSU, gets beat twice already this year.
But I guarantee you they'll show up when it's
of course they will.
And that's what we have to guard against. When you are considered one of the best teams in the country, we're not number 1, we're number 2 and may drop to 3 after Ohio State enters the fray this weekend. You have that bullseye. And it doesn't even matter what we're ranked because we're playing a conference schedule. So everybody's going to go, there we go, here we go. Here's our shot right
That's
here.
right.
So you'll see it.
Every week you got to bring your best.
And Pruitt, we keep talking about his former assistants not ever beating him. So that's some motivation there too.
Of course it is.
So they'll be ready.
Yeah, they're good. Listen, they just got thumped by Kentucky. And they're going to be a mad team, embarrassed, and they're trying to prove their worth. So it's going to be a really good game. Look forward to doing this and talking about another win for us. So let's go ahead and go to predictions.
Line's 21.
We're a 3-score favorite.
Yeah.
We're in Knoxville,
Yes.
Neyland Stadium.
Yes.
Great place to go, by the way, if you've never been there.
Yeah, I have.
It's a great place to play.
Yeah.
What score prediction?
I think, like you said, it's an old rivalry, third Saturday in October, which is traditionally the biggest rivalry for us and Tennessee. I think it's a close game. Alabama 57, Tennessee 13.
That
Pretty close.
huh?
Well, we call off the dogs.
Exactly. So Tide fans, get your cigars ready because again, I think like Maurice, this game will be close. I don't know if we'll score 57, but they won't stop us consistently.
Then
throughout
how
the
will
game.
we not score 57?
So,
Will we score 77 like Clemson
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, exactly.
we're not going to score 57. We're going to score 55. No, it'll be like, I mean, we'll cover the spread. Like I say, we'll be lighting cigars at the end of the night and roll Tide.
48-17's my pick. I don't think he will embarrass Jeremy Pruitt. I don't think he'll do. I believe that we will do it early enough that we'll see some Bryce Young. We'll see some guys getting some playing time. I don't believe it'll be, like we saw, that where we struggle a little bit early and then we've got to hang on, late.
I just don't think they have the talent to keep up.
Well, I don't believe they have the talent either, but I believe they're going to be playing with a different passion and a different intensity because of last week, and then they're coming off a loss. So we've talked about that before. A lot of times intensity and passion will make up for some other things. I've always said I'll take a guy that's going to work hard and show effort over a talented guy all day long, a person that has heart.
Right.
So I think they're going to be playing with a lot of heart. They're going to be at home. Jeremy Pruitt's going to have them fired up. But I believe we come out with a win and we'll be sharing our cigars. So, guys, thanks for another good show. 4-0. 4-0.
Yes.
We'll be right back here next week on Channel 207. You can check us out on our YouTube channel. But we'll do it again, Tide fans, and we'll see you next week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Hey, Bob.